Joining us now is Lanny Davis. Lanny, we want to just jump right into the discussion, the major discussion we're having this morning about the High Court's decision yesterday regarding gay marriage. You know, I think it's important to point out, as we have been all morning long, that the High Court did not specifically rule on the legality of gay marriage, just simply that in states where it is legal, that those who are, married, gay couples that are married, should receive the same federal health, tax, Social Security, the other benefits that hetero couples get. Your take on this morning?
Well, first of all, I write a column, Purple Nation, as you know, because I try to see things both ways, and I am certainly respectful and tolerant of people whose religious beliefs don't consider same-sex marriage as either moral or should be subject to legal recognition. So it's not a matter of disrespect, but I'm about to say I honestly cannot understand the fact-based, rational argument against same-sex marriage. It literally is beyond me to understand why if two people who are in love want to be married, that they shouldn't have a right to get a marriage license. I do not get this argument.
Okay, well, do you want to engage in that argument?
I do. I just want to say, and of course I want to hear the opposing view because I have a hard time understanding this one. But what the Supreme Court held in the Defense of Marriage Act ruling is that there is no rational basis for discrimination, and that is a constitutional finding under the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. The California Proposition 8 decision was based on a process issue about standing, but it did allow to be upheld the district court opinion, which strongly held there's no rational basis for the discrimination, so it's a violation of the 14th Amendment.
Right. So Lanny, first of all, before I engage in the fact-based rational argument against same-sex marriage, can I just say, because that was a very impassioned and logical argument you just made. Did you make that argument to your old boss, Bill Clinton, when he actually signed the Defense of Marriage Act? It was so strange to see him celebrating a law that he signed into law, ruled unconstitutional. Why on earth would he be celebrating the fact that he signed an unconstitutional law?
Well, I think he's part of probably a majority of the country that's changed their minds pretty drastically on this issue. Literally changed their minds in the last 10 to 15 years. It's amazing the change in public opinion. I have never understood it, didn't understand it when he supported it, and as long as I can remember,
let me just
I've never understood why. It's certainly not statistically true that heterosexual marriages have a greater chance of success than same-sex marriage. In fact, there might even be statistics the other way. So, no, it's not that I ever agreed with this, but I know that the country, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, a lot of Democrats, and certainly a lot of Republicans and a lot of gay conservatives have caused this change. Look at Ted Olson, for goodness sakes. He's changed his mind.
Well,
so, of course, everyone has changed their mind.
I get all that, but I keep hearing this, that the majority wants gay people to have the right to marry. But in California, that wasn't the case because the people took it to a vote.
Well, I'm not even sure there is a majority yet. I think there are a lot of people still uneasy about it, and your point's well taken. Someone said to me yesterday, well, does that mean all the votes in California don't matter? And my answer is, well, of course they don't matter if they're contradicting a constitutional right. You can't vote out the First Amendment or the 14th Amendment. In the case of the California Proposition 8, the district court judge found that the voters were trying to overturn a constitutional amendment, and that can't be done.
All right, so Lanny Davis, you framed this as what is the logical, fact-based argument against two people who are in love who wish to get married? So I have to pose the question to you then. What is the fact-based, logical, constitutional argument against two people who are cousins getting married, or brother and sister getting married, or for that matter, now that it's same-sex marriage, you can't say that, hold on, because you can't say there's a public health interest. I understand you don't want people who are closely related because that's a public health issue with regard to their offspring. So what is the constitutional legal argument against two brothers getting married?
Well, there are science-based arguments about the dangers of genetic deformity.
Not for two gay men who are brothers. They don't have offspring.
Well, they don't have offspring, and I would have no objection to two brothers getting married, actually. If there's no facts to support the policy...
Okay, that's fine. So what about bigamy then?
Well, bigamy is a real problem in this area. So is miscegenation. I mean, what is the fact-based argument that prohibits blacks and whites marrying? The constitutional argument back in the 1960s was made that it's an irrational policy decision and offends racial discrimination issues.
So you do favor legalization of bigamy?
I think there's a real problem with government making moral judgments, but in the case of bigamy, there is a moral judgment about the functionality based on some data. I'm not sure I find it persuasive, but there is some data that bigamy and multiple marital partners within a family have less of a functional family, a healthy environment for children. I've never quite understood that argument. Actually, I would like to try bigamy. It might be actually a nice way to live, to have a few women around, but it is
or a couple of guys, Lanny.
There's at least an argument about family health in multiple parents for children, but I've never quite followed that one either.
But see, my colleague is being provocative, and I understand that he's trying to make a larger point by being provocative. But I mean,
excuse me, can I interrupt? He's not provoked. If my wife is listening, she's going to ask me, "Are you looking for other partners here?"
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing that
and there's a long history of people being concerned about the effect on children of multiple parents.
Well, I mean, some people would make that argument when it comes to gay marriage. I mean, I'm not among them, but some people would.
Well, look, that's really you're really right on point about that. Is the fact argument, and the court in California, for the first time in history, held a 3-day hearing in which he had evidence on the issue, as it would be, for example, if bigamy were under trial, as to what is the effect on children of having same-sex partners. And that might be a fact-based reason for a state to say, we think it's not healthy for children. In fact, he found statistically there are more divorces in heterosexual marriages than there are in same-sex marriages, and we would have to see what the evidence would be in a bigamous relationship as to the health on children. But that is really where we should be looking, is for evidence that supports a discrimination. That's the constitutional issue.
All right, listen, we're going to leave it right there, Lanny. Good to have you.
All right.
Thanks a lot.